Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Today we are fortunate with a great guest, Ray Robinson, and he is going to talk about a great book. We already started talking about it, so it was difficult to stop and then realize that is our time to start the show. So it happens. But let's continue our conversation. Let's welcome you. How are you doing, sir?
Doing very well. How about yourself?
Good, good. So tell us what you normally do. Do you write books or what's your normal work routine?
Well, when it comes to the creative stuff, I do more in the realm of acting and directing. I have done some playwriting and movie scripts.
Mhm.
I've had a successful web series created about my own experiences as a pizza delivery driver, and it actually won an award. I think it was the Central States Best Web Series. So I'm very proud of that, considering it was like a first time I'd done anything like that. But
No?
most of what I've dealt with has just been in the theatrical realm and somewhat in the movie realm, and adapting other people's works for the stage and for film.
Okay. And I was, learning or talking to you about the upcoming book adaptation. I think you told me that you're adapting a book. So tell us, audience, I know since you told me a little bit. So tell us from the beginning, how did that idea started? So.
Absolutely. My father-in-law, Les Edgerton, is a well-versed author. He's written over 20 novels that he's got in print. He also teaches writing with some online classes. And one of his novels that he wrote, I think it was back in 2013, the name of it is called The Bitch. And unlike what most people think, as far as the derogatory meaning of the word, or even as a description of female dog, in this case, the bitch is actually a slang term for habitual offender. Where the novel takes place in Indiana, there is a three-strike rule when it comes to major crimes and felonies that you commit. If you commit if you get caught doing that crime three times, it's the three strikes and you roll out. So it's when you commit the crime a third time, you get sent up for the bitch, which is the three strikes and you're out. In this case, the character in the novel, his name's Jacob Bishop. He was caught twice being a burglar, doing felony burglary. And so he's actually tried to clean up his life. He's gotten a steady job. He's married, has a child on the way. But his old cellmate that saved him back in prison from somebody that wanted to beat him up comes calling. Now that he's on the outside, he's got one last job that he really could use somebody that's good at breaking and entering on. And because of circumstances, including just jailhouse type of justice. When somebody does something for you, you do something back as a favor for them. He's come calling for Jacob to help him out on this one last job. And Jacob has kind of pretty much pulled slowly back into the old life of breaking and entering and trying to not get caught and not get sent up for a third time.
So part of is actually, it's a thriller, but it is based on some reality.
It is. The author, Les, he was a felon himself for breaking and entering, and a lot of what he writes in all of his novels, but primarily in The Bitch as well, is based on his own real life. For example, the opening scene is from when he was a child, where the main character, Jacob, when he was a child, he was caught stealing exotic coins from his father. And his father, basically, his method of punishing him for it is like, well, if you really want him that bad, you got him, and makes him swallow each one of those coins in turn. So, wow. And that actually was drawn from Les's real life. His own father did that to him. But scattered throughout the story are real incidents that took place in Les's life. There is a murder or two involved in the story, which I don't think took place in Les's life. At least he's not going to tell his son-in-law if that's true. But and probably because of statute of limitations, he wouldn't tell anybody. But he's had a very fascinating life, so he's had lots of material to draw on for his various novels. This particular novel, The Bitch, actually actually won several awards, one of which, the main one that comes to my mind, there's an award called Predators and Editors Thriller of the Year.
Wow.
And it won that in that category for 2013. But I still, he gave me the book 5 or 6 years ago, and I read it. It's a fascinating story, and I'm like, I'm going to try to adapt this for the stage or for screen. And about 5 years ago, I did pretty much that, but I hadn't really had a chance to do much with it. But now that COVID has had a lot of people doing stuff online with Zoom or chat features like this one, uh, you can gather people together to actually do basically an enhanced radio play of pretty much anything. You've had movies that they've rebroadcast, such as Scott Pilgrim versus the World and The Princess Bride. Some of the original cast have gotten together and recreated their roles using Zoom. Another good example is the TV show Community. They all got together for charity and read one of their scripts, but nobody's actually done that with some lesser known works or thrillers in particular. And so I thought, well, somebody's got to be the first. I volunteer.
Yeah, that is very fascinating. That, I mean, the whole story, and these are the topics, I would say, those are much needed. There are a lot of things it can relate to, a lot of real life
Mhm.
situations. A lot of people, unfortunately, they do commit some of these mistakes, I would say, and they're not habitual, so they are, yeah, unfortunately, if they go to jail and they are pushed to wrong side, then they can never return back to the normal.
Right. That's one of the great things about Les. When he was in prison, he learned hairstyling, which
Oh,
you think,
wow.
yeah, you wouldn't think a prisoner would that would be like a chosen profession. But apparently, in the Pendleton correctional facility that he was in, some of the I want to say the corrective behaviors that they offered did include on-the-job training for hairstyling, and apparently it was a very hard program to get into. But he became one of the hairstylers, and when he finally finished out his term, he started doing hairstyling on the outside as well, and got to the point where he was in such demand that he would be, and this was probably back in the '90s or so. He was charging like $100 for a haircut, hairstyling. He was very in demand anywhere he went, and he basically changed his life around. He's still ornery, and he can still crack a mean joke every so often. But the one thing that he has done is he's straightened out his life. He's gone legitimate, and part of what he's done to kind of still get that thrill of some of the things that he would do to get himself in trouble. What he does instead is whatever comes to his mind, he writes about it. And as a result, he's become a very prolific author, award-winning author, and also a teacher of writing styles. And he's very direct, and he is no nonsense about it. When I was adapting his novel, I would send him a draft, and he would come back at me and say, "Ray, you did this wrong. You know better too." But he always did it in a very nice way because he didn't want to anger his son-in-law. So, but he's a very good, very strict teacher on writing. But that comes from the upbringing. He dealt with a lot of hard things in his life, and as a result, he's very direct and very honest, and he doesn't take any crap from anybody, and that includes in his writing. And it shows very well too, because it's very knowledgeable and very learned. And when somebody thinks of a prison movie, they think of maybe Oz, the TV show, or Shawshank Redemption, and you see glimpses of that, the glimpses of those being true from his experiences, but it's very sugar-coated and very watered down in the movie realm. Whereas his writing, it's not watered down at all. It's barefaced truth. It's harsh reality, and it's painful to read at times. But it's fascinating. It's very fascinating.
Mhm. So tell me, what is the plan? Who's gonna act or some characters out of it?
Well, fortunately, over the last 10, 15 years that I've been in Louisville, Kentucky, I've managed to grow a nice little network of people that I've acted with, that I've directed in shows. And I basically just called upon each of the people that I know that have been very successful in the field, people that I know are really good actors. And I asked them if they would like to participate in this. And almost every one of them were just on board saying, absolutely. A lot of folks right now, a lot of actors in particular, they aren't getting much work because of the virus. And so they're at home, they're idling, they're bored. And if you give them something that allows them to stretch their acting chops, they are all for it and all ready for it. So I've got some really good quality people and good quality actors that are taking on some of these roles. A couple of them have been in award-winning films themselves. One in particular, her name's Julie Strebel. She primarily is, you can find her in a lot of the independent horror realm, but she has won several awards. One in particular as Best Leading Actress for a movie that was produced about 3 years ago here at Louisville. And so she was more than happy to join the cast. I've got several folks that I've worked with on many other projects. Our lead character, Jake, he's played by Topher Smith. He's done a lot of character work. He primarily plays like characters for the zoo, like Captain Hook. He's played the Dread Pirate Roberts from The Princess Bride. He's been in several of my movie adaptations, and he's just a solid, reliable character actor. Another couple of great folks that are in the lead roles. Daniel Smith, he played the lead in Hair, I believe, here in Louisville on stage, and he's playing one of the bad guys, and so he gets to really flex his muscles in going from the happy hippie guy to the jailhouse jailbird that is driving the plot. And another gentleman that I've worked with off and on a lot, his name's JP Lebengood, and he's playing just a slimy character. He does that so well. Normally it's fun to watch him actually do the actions and the movements. You don't get as much with the online on-screen thing, but boy, he's got that voice down. He'll just give you chills. It's great.
Oh, wow. So you got a whole team there.
Yeah, a grand total of 8 actors plus myself. I guess counting myself, it's 8. So I'm doing the narration so that people could kind of get a mental visual of what's going on around them. The majority of the movie adaptation here takes place in a cold December day or cold December few days really in Indiana, which snow on the ground about a foot deep. So it's not really something that's easily adapted for the stage, but when people can think about that in their minds and get somebody to describe the situation around them, it becomes a little bit more real in that regard too.
Mm-hmm. And so they're gonna do that on stage, or they're gonna do it from their home?
From their homes. Everybody's going to be on camera for live, like in a Zoom chat. We have a Facebook page set up where it's going to stream live there. We're also going to stream it live on YouTube. And for anybody that wants to kind of chase down the information, if they go on Facebook and look up stage performance bitch, if they type all that in search, it should be the first thing that pops up. And you can join the page to watch the viewing when it comes on there. You can also join the event that's set up there. And so direct links to both the Facebook page and the YouTube link will be in those areas.
Okay, great. So how long is gonna be? 1 hour?
This production would be finished kind of a whole run through the other day. It lasted about 2 hours. So wow. So it's substantial. It's quite a bit. We might speed it up a little bit, but I don't expect it to speed up too much. So I'm just telling everybody to kind of allocate a couple of hours of time to sit back and relax and kind of immerse yourself in a very scary world.
No, this is so fascinating. We'll be very happy to air your show too. Once you give us a video, we'll re-air it. We are in 130 countries, so
wow.
we have a lot of followers. So that will definitely get. We are promoting for you for sure. So it's on YouTube. Which day is that?
It will be on Saturday the 12th. The actual live stream will be starting at 7:30 p.m. Eastern time, and the but it should be also available afterward as a rebroadcast for people to watch anytime, especially on YouTube. So, but if you want to watch it live and come join the fun, 7:30 on Saturday the 12th.
So, okay, yeah, sure. Actually, we can also air it for you. So if you like, so I think after this class, you if you can share the link, sure, or give us, then we'll be very happy. That'll be very fascinating. So to kind of learn a little bit on that and get the live too, so we can air on our we are on Apple TV and all that,
Oh
so
wow,
people
nice.
people can watch it. So Zoom, sorry, Amazon, Roku, and Apple. So it's a lot of people and apps. So you can check it out. So that would be great. So also tell us, you've mentioned about your web series. So tell me a little bit about what's the name of that web series.
Yes, the name of that is Deliver Me. The story behind that is a couple years back. My wife she's had some chronic headache issues, and one of the things that they found that was causing some of those headache issues was a deterioration of the spinal column in her neck. So
Mhm.
she had to get surgery where she had rods implanted, but as a result, she was going to be out of work for about 3 months. So she wound up having to basically leave her job. It was a part-time position, but we knew that once she was healed and ready to go, she could actually go back to the career that she was originally in, that she had to drop out of because of those medical issues.
Mhm.
But for that time, we were going to be short on income, so I took up a second job delivering pizzas,
Mhm.
and which was surprisingly prolific. I did pretty well money wise on that and kept us afloat very well. But was interesting was I was moving in and out of people's lives with these deliveries and getting little snippets of what was going on in their lives.
Wow.
And some of it was absolutely hilarious stuff,
Mhm.
and some of it was really touching as well.
Mhm.
And I started collecting these stories, and I was posting them just for my friends on Facebook. And one of them said, you really ought to turn this into a series of some kind.
Wow, that's a good call.
Yeah, I thought about it for a minute. And I'm like, I probably could. I'd never done a web series before,
Mhm.
but I decided, if I'm going to do this, I'm going to do it right. So even though we didn't have to anymore, I went back to delivering pizzas just to get more money so I could actually produce the web series itself and like pay the main actor and pay my editor to and cinematographer to put it all do all the tech work for me, while I basically just wrote out the scripts and found all the right actors. I was very fortunate that there was one gentleman that auditioned that just blew me away. His name's Charlie Walker, and he's a professional comedian. And so I cast him as the lead, essentially taking the role that I was in. And all the stories that I put together are 100% authentic, but I kind of goosed up the comedy value for them a little bit to like anything that was really funny. I just made it funnier, added some more comedy to it. But all the stories that are there are 100% true. I had probably the one that sticks out in my mind the most because it's just so quick and easy is that when I went back to delivering, there was one gentleman that I was delivering to. He was just giant, man. He was like 6'4",
Mhm.
just built like a tank. He was standing on the top of his stairs of his porch. So I'm bringing the pizza up, and this guy's just giving me this big stare down. And so I'm like, I don't know if this guy's going to beat me up or what. But I go up with the pizza, and I go, that'll be $22. And then he just suddenly goes, oh my, I'm sorry. I forgot to get the money. And he reaches into his pocket. The money goes flying everywhere. And he's like, oh dear. Oh no. Oh my. Oh gosh. I'm so sorry. He gets down on the ground, is picking up the money. And I'm looking around going, there's a camera on me somewhere, isn't there? I mean, you guys are filming me trying to get a good reaction or uh, so I laughed so hard when I got back in the car. And then when I got home that night, I
Mhm.
actually said, okay, I got to include this in the show. So I just sat down and started typing that all out and made a little snippet of an episode for that. So it just there was so much inspiring around me that it kept going. I honestly would love to go back to delivering pizzas just to get more stories.
And now with COVID, I know probably not a good idea, but
Probably not.
it just that is fascinating. So that you have, but I think you touched a very important topic is that with that you could really touch now how many pizza a delivery person actually are so observant, or they touch so many lives. Or I think the message here is very simple, is that I mean, you're a sensitive person, you can communicate and you can understand their feeling, but some people might not get that, or they might not even appreciate that, right? So not everybody would have that right kind of look at it.
Yeah. That is the beautiful thing. There are stories all around us,
Yeah.
and some and it's almost. I want to say it takes a special person to actually record them in some manner, but quite honestly, it doesn't. We do it every day in social media ourselves.
Mm.
We see something funny or scary happens around us. The first thing a lot of people do now is they go online and share that with their friends to give people interesting stories to read. And it's just a lot of folks don't realize that maybe they could collect those and make a kind of their own little anthology and maybe make something additional out of it. I was very fortunate that somebody pointed out to me that I could do exactly that, and I found a way to capitalize on it. So you've probably got hundreds of people that are listening right now that can think of something that would make a very funny television series or a story.
Mm.
And all they have to do is just take a moment, write it all down. And even if it doesn't ever get published or you don't ever make any money off of it, you at least can share that with people, make them laugh, make them smile, maybe even make them cry or make them angry on your behalf. You can touch somebody with your words and your thoughts and your observations.
And that is, I think, is I think fulfilling. I mean, money portion is one thing, but if you do, very good, but if not, but I think the other thing is why on social media there's a lot of kind of fake dance, fake things, and fake all that, and they are way popular. So those real stories, or those which are really inspired by real events or real things, they are not, and that is sad, because so they have so they so the lot of stars on that would be not very realistic, actually, right?
Mm-hmm. I agree, and a lot of folks think that if they did, if it, what's the words I'm looking for? If so, the truth is stranger than fiction. Well, it's also more entertaining than fiction in many aspects,
Mhm.
and a lot of folks think that you have to be a really good writer. You have to have really good fictional make believe ideas to create something special. When in
Mhm.
reality, all you have to do is just share what's going on around you and give your own input on it. And generally, that'll be far more entertaining than some of the things that you're seeing online and on TV now. I've always found people's real lives to be really interesting because when you know it's real, you get more invested in it, and you want to, in many cases, especially if it's your friends that are sharing that information, they're cheering you on and they want you to succeed, and so it's reciprocal. You give and they give back. It's wonderful.
Mhm. And that is and every story, everybody's story is very unique. I go to grocery stores, and now and I ask them, and we I used to think that me being doctor, probably I'm doing first responder with the COVID and so forth, so important things, which is true probably. But I then when I see the grocery person and I asked him, I said, by the way, I have seen you for last whole month here, and you didn't take a single day off. And to me, and he says, Doc, I work every day, and I work every day 15 hours straight. And I said, oh my God, you are far more than I do. Okay, so, and you see a lot of people who could be positive actually, and then those are the first responders or blinders. you guys rock, those. And as in the hospital, we see people who are cleaning the bed. I mean, to me, they are real heroes because their passion and those are something. I mean, yes, we do too, but to me, they are actually real heroes.
I
There's,
agree.
cleaning garbage, cleaning all these tireless hours. They don't get as much money as any of us would do, but they do it for passion. They want to help, so those are the real stories, in my opinion,
Yeah.
right?
Absolutely, and what's great is if they have moments to look around, they too can also find those stories to entertain themselves,
Yeah,
similar to the delivery stories.
yeah.
It's very, I mean, there's lots of potential for stories, especially in a supermarket.
Yeah, supermarket, and also, then we had. So he told me that everybody ran away. Actually, it's called law, and then said they did, or they're getting the checks at home. That claim the unemployment and whatever, and they stay here. But there are people who will have guts to come and not to take the checks and think beyond their own life and, help others. So those are the stories. They are fascinating. So I make a point. Wherever we go, we want to appreciate people and say, only best thing we can do is appreciate each other's work, right?
Precisely. That's when you do go out of your way to appreciate what other people are doing, and when they go out of their way to pay attention to what you're doing, everybody just understands each other a little bit more. They actually give each other a little bit more leeway on areas that they might be slowing down on or not doing as well on. But so they say, "Oh, I understand. You've had a hard day because I've watched you do this and this and this," and as a result, people are more tolerant of each other when they have some shortcomings, but then they're also more apt to celebrate them when they have their victories. So
Mm,
it all comes around when all you have to do is just pay attention to each other and think about your impact on them as well.
mm. And with COVID, we have to realize that main thing is humans have actually each other, but that's it. We are. There's no species that would can help us actually, right? So
No,
except helping each other, so the best we can do is support each other. And so the words carry such a strong message, and can really make a difference in somebody's life, just to kind of think how you're doing, and is everything okay with you, or do you need any help, or you're doing an awesome job, right? So to
yeah,
me, I think that carries a lot. Somebody says that and I say, oh, it makes my day.
yeah, precisely.
Okay. Well, thank you for coming to our show. Any final thoughts you have for our audience?
The only other thing is just we talked a little bit about my web series, Deliver Me. You
Yeah.
can find that online if you go to creativelouisville.org. There's several of my projects there, and there will be a link there for Deliver Me, the web series, as well as a couple other things that I'm doing. But for the stage reading that occurs on Saturday the 12th, like you said, I'll get you a link for the YouTube
Yeah.
link so you can broadcast that. But if anybody wants to catch it on Facebook as well, on Facebook Live, you just look for Staged Reading Bitch, and they should be able to find it.
Yeah, well, looking forward for December 12th. And I will also probably talk to you. We'll be happy to hear your delivery series too. And then, that will be so fascinating. I'm so excited when I learned about the episode you discussed. And that is funny. So take care and stay safe. And we'll look forward to hear more from you. Take care. Good night.
Wonderful. Thank you.
Yeah.